And welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. This is a weird treat, but normally we have film critic Herb Stratford in studio for the podcast broadcast on Fridays to kick off the weekend for what movies are coming to town and whatnot, or, to streaming services. But he's on a day early because he had things to do, and I appreciate you coming in on the show. And he came in a day early, really, because I believe that he's just ultra excited to talk about Dune, and he couldn't wait an extra 24 hours. And then we had a bet about Dune, did we not, Herb?
We did. I don't think there was any monetary. It may have been just a gentleman's agreement. But yes.
And refresh my memory. What was the bet on Dune?
The bet was that Dune was going to be good, and I said it was, and you said it was going to suck.
It was going to garbage. Yeah, it's going to be garbage. Yes. But are you watching Dune through rose-colored glasses?
Well,
that's the question.
Well, no, that and that's an honest question. And so that's actually why I brought my wife with me to the press screening. And I said, because she had watched the Lynch version and she was like, I don't understand what's going on. Right. And so I would stop the movie and say, well, this is sort of what, whatever. And so, and my wife is not a stupid person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was a very dense and not very good film.
Most people did not understand the original Dune.
It was a mess.
Yes.
So basically, after the film, as we're driving back, had to go to Phoenix to see it. Driving back, I said, all right, I love that, but you tell me, did you get it? Did it make sense? Did you like it? And she said, oh yeah. She's like, oh, I totally got it. It totally made sense to me. I totally thought it was awesome. Good. Cast was great. So having that sort of, not necessarily completely blank slate, because again, she'd seen the Lynch version, but I can't really talk to my wife about a science fiction book that I've read she hasn't read, and and I've read it a dozen times, and that makes me sort of a geek on it.
Well, you're the best person to ask about this then. How true to the source material was this movie, this version of Dune?
That's the interesting thing, is it's very true, and for a number of things. One, they split the movie in half. I mean, the book in half, right? So this movie is 2.5 hours long, and it goes about halfway through the book. So that's good. So you didn't try and do like Lynch and jam it all in there.
Right.
So we're going to get, hopefully, knock on wood, a second movie that'll finish it out. But the thing that I thought was so great about this was, yes, he changed one or two little things. Denis Villeneuve, the director, and the writer, the screenwriter, they changed one or two things, but it was the kind of thing where it wasn't a monumental change where I thought, that's different, but okay, I'm okay with that. That made sense, right? That's a good choice. But it didn't make me mad, because there's things in the Lynch version I'm like, oh, what the heck? Raining? It doesn't rain on Dune. What the heck are you doing? So it was. I felt good because it sort of like put his own little spin on it, and I still, of course, have, visions in my head. When you read a book, you make a visual in your head of what something looks like. I still have that, and that's still going to exist. But this was like his version. It's remarkable. I mean, he is the science fiction director. So if anybody could do it and had a budget, it's him. So
how much was the budget? Do you know?
I think it was between 150 and 200.
Yeah, so it's a big film. And again, this film was supposed to come out last December, I believe. It got pushed back because of a pandemic.
It was last October.
Last October.
Yeah.
So a full
it's been
year.
pushed 4 times, I think.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is, but I think, this is also, and I will say, when I went to Phoenix, luckily, the press screening was at an IMAX. And this is the kind of movie that not only do you, should see it in the theater, but see it as big as you possibly can. I mean, having said that, I'm going to sit at home, HBO Max, and watch it while I can again. But you know what? If you're feeling like going to see something, this is definitely a theater experience. It's the sound. It's the giantness of everything. I mean, it's space.
I told Rico that you'd be coming in and saying, "Oh, you got to see it on the IMAX."
I don't blame him.
And Rico's the same way. I'm going to watch it on HBO Max because there's like a 24-hour pass, just to see if it is half as good as Herb says it is. Vegan Negan on our podcast broadcast stream wrote, "How are the effects?"
The effects are spot on. And I will tell you, I just watched a movie that I can't talk about yet. That's on Shudder, and the effects were so distracting.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean? So it really takes you out of the moment when the effects are half baked.
Yeah.
And no, everything is, I mean, you don't see any artifacting, you don't see any look like it's rushed. I mean, the money is on the screen, and also the sets. I mean, they filmed in Czechoslovakia, and they filmed in Abu Dhabi, and they filmed in Jordan. And I mean, they went places, and it looks amazing. I mean, it is really remarkable. No money was spared. You know what I mean? Like the costumes, everything is there.
Okay, let me ask you this then. This is the real prediction, because pandemic affects this. How much money do you think Dune is going to make this weekend, the over-under. Before you came in on the show, we talked about how Halloween Kills made $50 million over the 3-day weekend. This is good news for Dune. Because if a film like Halloween Kills, like Halloween Part 17, basically, can make $50 million on a 3-day weekend, then a film like Dune, which a lot of nerds have been waiting 30 years for, present company definitely included.
37. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
Yeah. So the over-under, do you think it's going to make, I mean, I guess it would be easy to say 50 million.
I'm thinking I'm going to go bold and I'm going to say 80.
You're going to say 80 million. You're
am.
going to say this is the first film that could open in a 3-day weekend and almost make $100 million.
I am.
Okay, so you're saying over. I'm definitely taking the under on that. That is the bet on this. And I will say this, and the reason why. Okay, obviously pandemic is the play. I don't know if people are that excited about Dune as you are. I know there's an audience for it. I know there's people excited about it, but is there enough in the mainstream audience to go out of their way to go see this film?
I think if they don't, I think that no one can be blamed other than the pandemic. Because I think when you talk about the hot director, right, who's coming off of like he's the, one of the hottest directors, who's basically giving carte blanche, you have a cast that is ridiculous, right? I mean, if you had half of that cast, it would be
who's the main star in this? The biggest name?
Timothy Chalamet is Paul, but Oscar Isaac, Dave Bautista, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. David Dashmalian. I mean, this is, a third of those people would make this film noteworthy. So the fact that he's captured this cast is pretty remarkable. So I think the combination of a little bit of pent up demand. I do think the HBO Max thing is a little bit, it's still sad. And I thought that wasn't going to happen. I thought they were going to exclude Dune. I thought they were going to pull it out. But
it's going to be very short.
But you know what? Matrix. Matrix 4 is coming out in December on HBO Max too. So if they did it to Matrix, they're going to do it to everybody.
Absolutely. So Herb thinks it's going to make over $80 million this weekend. I'm saying it's going to make under $80 million, but it will make more than Halloween, even though I believe Halloween had help because it's a good date movie. So you could take a girl to go see Halloween and be scared. They'll love it, right? You can't take a girl on a date to see Dune if she is not a sci-fi head.
Yes, you can. There's Jason Momoa. She's gonna love watching Jason Momoa.
You're not gonna get laid. No, you're not gonna get laid. I think it's too. I think it's too highbrow. I think it's too. You have to decide. I haven't even seen it, but I think it might be too smart for an average date.
Find
movie.
Smarter girls.
I don't think. Well,
that's the filter right there.
We'll see. All right. Well, we have a lot more to cover with Herb Stratford on the podcast broadcast. When we return, we're going to talk about what's coming